Do not miss any of our
Hi
cool
everyone,
videos.
welcome back
Subscribe to
to
our
today's
channel for
session.
latest
So in today's
updates.
session, we are
Click
going
on
to
the bell
see
icon
about
now.
quadcopter assembly. So what we have in front of us, we can see is we have a PCB board of which we have received from our quadcopter set itself, and these two are the PCB boards which we have got. And if you see, there are some slots over here. So these patches are where we are gonna solder our ESC to positive and negative sign, as you can see, and then we have the four legs of our quadcopter. So you can see that two of them are red in color and two of them are white in color. So this is quite important for it because this is going to differentiate for us from the front of the quadcopter to the back of a quadcopter. So we'll be using the red to be the front and the white to be the back, and you can use as you guys please. And so we'll consider this ESM 450 to be the front of the quadcopter because it's easy to understand for us. And this is the front facing side for quadcopter. So what are the tools you'll be requiring? So these four, so basically this whole set you'll be getting from your quadcopter kit itself. And then you'll be getting few screws. So this is a screw pack which you'll be using to tighten your quadcopter, and you will be using this Allen key. So this Allen key is again a requirement which you will have to get so you can screw your quadcopter, because if you see it right, this is how it's going to go in. And yep, that's what you needed. So let's begin with the assembly of our quadcopter. So let's start from the back side of a rear side of a quadcopter. So what overall design is going to come is, let's show you for instance, it's going to be something like this. So this and these two are going to be in the front, uh, but no, it's going to be like this. This is how it's going to be. You just have to keep, yeah, so this is how your quadcopter is supposed to look, and this is going to be on top side of your quadcopter, and then you will screw it, and that's how your assembly is going to complete. So let's move to the screwing part. So this step can be done in two ways. So the first way is that you can directly solder your ESC to your to this PCB board. Once you solder, then you can go for screwing, or then you can screw first, then solder your ESC, and even that could be done. So these are two things which you could do. We'll start with screwing our PCB first. So just rotate it towards the back. Make sure it's in the right angle. Make sure no mistake is done when you're screwing the quadcopter, and even the angles and everything. Make sure everything is extremely tight. So because when your quadcopter is at flight, it tends to have vibrations, and during takeoff, lift, and even on flight. So if any of these parts are not tightened properly, you're going to experience you're going to experience loosening of the screws, and if that happens, it's your quadcopter is going to crash land, even if the CG is going to change. So if you see now, I've finished screwing one of its legs, and it's quite easy if you understand how to do it, and it's quite fast too. So you can see one end of it is done. So now let's move to the second end. So this is the rear end of your quadcopter, again this side. So we'll screw this side next. So just keep it at the right angle which you need, and then try to align it, and now you can screw it. Thing is, aligning part would take some time. It's gonna be a bit difficult, but once one of the screws is in and it's aligned, then it's gonna be easy. So this is the last part of your rear end, since it has two legs, and just screwed it in. Now we'll use one more of the screws. So we have finished screwing this PCB to our quad legs. Now we'll move to the front end of our quadcopter and we'll start screwing the front side of our quad and just try to align it right. You're gonna have trouble while aligning your quadcopter, the first screw, then it's gonna be easy. So the first screw to your quad, since it's part of your alignment also, it's gonna take some time. But once you've aligned it right, it's gonna be quick. Yeah, see. Just tilt a bit because if it's not aligned properly with the screw hole, then it's not going to get fitted. So we'll be able to screw it in. Yeah, so even this end has been fit, and now we're going to go to our last end. So this is our last leg of a quadcopter. As you can see, the process is very easy. So once you understand which side what's going and you have aligned it right, then step is easy. So until then, until you understand one of them and you're able to do one of them, that's the only thing in this. So we have screwed the front of our cord also. Just one more slab. So we'll just take one of the screws from this and we'll try aligning it. Yeah, here is the alignment of. Sometimes if it doesn't go in, maybe you just need a bit more alignment of it. So if you see, my this time it's not going in. So there's some alignment mistake which we have to try to sort it. It's a bit towards the left, if you see, or towards the right, the screw hole. So you can get such errors while screwing a quadcopter. If you see over here, it's not being screwed in. because it's not aligned. This hole is not being aligned right. So first if you just try to push it towards your left side so that you're able to align it. So a lot of factors can affect this. So sometimes it's because of your PCB alignment, because there could be fault from the industry also. So even that could be one of the reasons. So you just have to get a bit more push. And once you screw it in, so if you can see we have screwed this part also in. So we have got the right alignment for our quad. So now all the four ends of your quad is done, and if you see here we have got our four legs in place of, and it's attached to your PCB. So what is the next step? So next step is screwing your over the upper end of your quad, but this should not be done because you're going to have a lot of issues if you do this now. Screwing is part of this, and over here from each end, each side is four screws. So overall you have 4, 8, 12 and 16 of them in total, and you'll be receiving it from the kit itself. But the next step which I would recommend is connecting your ESCs to your quad. So what's going to happen here is I'll show you. You have your ESCs, and this is your ESC, and you have to cut this part of your ESC. So once you cut it, you just have to get it, and you have to solder it, this part. So the red is positive, so the red goes to the positive end, where you can see it over here, and black goes to negative end, and your this part is a signal pin. So this is going to go to your controller, which I'll be showing you later on. So you'll be getting a transmitter and receiver. So you'll be connecting, but in quadcopter we'll be using a flight controller. So we'll be connecting it to our flight controller if we're using APM or PICSOC based on that. But I guess we're moving forward with APM. So this part will go through here, and the red positive is going to be connected to this positive, and black to negative to this. It's going to solder, and it's you're going to, with the rubber band, you can use it to attach it to your bottom of your quadcopter, the AC, and on top you're going to get your motor. So I'll just show you a motor over here which we have. So we'll be using to screw up this motor over here, and once it's screwed you can get the motor wires below this wire, and then using this motor we'll be able to connect it to your ESC. So I'll be showing you the connections also. So some will be clockwise and some will be anti-clockwise. So if this is the front side of your quad, it's going to be clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise. So that's how your setup is going to be. So that's how we're going to connect your ESC to your motor and solder it. So so in the next part we are going to solder our ESCs to our PCBs. So we'll move forward to our next part.
हाँ तो मतलब वो स्टेबल भी होने के लिए टाइम लगेगा।
बात ठीक से बंद कर, ठीक है, करेक्ट बंद कर देगा। Hi guys, so now as we can see we are done with our soldering of our ESCs to our PCB, and you can see the legs also have been screwed up. So now what we're going to do is we are going to attach our motors. So we're going to use 1000 kV brushless motors over here, and these are 4 motors which we have, and this is how it's going to come in the pack. So along with it we're going to get screws. So for this we would be requiring an Allen key also. So this is the size of your Allen key, and so once it's done we'll start with the screwing of our motor. So screwing of the motor, first you have to check if it's being aligned, rightly with the quad leg. So this is how it's supposed to be aligned. Just check on the circle. If you see, you should be able to see all the 4 holes through the quad leg. And in this image you can, I'm not sure if you're able to see or no, but I can pass through it. So that's well, I need to my cord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to screw one ends of the motor to the quad leg. So you just pass through it and attach the motor from below. This is a bit easier way of doing it. And just start tightening it a bit so that it gets attached. This process will take time, and make sure you're having the right screw and the attachments are right, so that there's no error in the future. You can use your Allen key to tighten it up then. As you can see, I have tightened one end of my motor, and it's been attached. I mean, once you attach one end of your motor, it's been attached. So you need 16 screws, because for one motor it's going to take 4. So since you're going to use 4 motors, you would require 16 screws. So one is done, and now the job is you have to try to align it equally. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to align all the screw holes equally to your quad. So see, I just moved it a bit, and I was able to get all the 4. I'm able to see all the 4 keyholes. I'm not sure if you're able to see, but if you're able to see it, you can see all of them are see through now. So just connect the, it's better if you go with the diagonally. Connect the diagonal one, use your Allen key. This way it's faster for you to screw your motor, and your alignment also is going to stay intact. I'll just cross verify why is it not going in, and just need to put it, and I'm able to do it now, and just use your Allen key to tighten up. This process will be time consuming, and it's going to test your patience obviously, but it's a particular step of your quadcopter assembly. If you can see, I could screw in diagonally, and my motor is slightly placed above my quad leg, one of my quad legs, and I just have 2 more ends left of the single motor. So just insert both the screws. Once you are done with the 2 ends, the remaining 2 are just going to be easier for you to screw, because it's diagonally aligned, and there won't be any more problem in further. So I have screwed all the 4 parts. Now we can rotate it, and we're going to open our new motor box. So this is a motor which I have received from Rover Craze, and you can just open it up. And you just have to take the motor, and you can see again it's 1000 kV motor. You always cross verify with a kV, because a different kV motor, if you attach a different kV motor for your quadcopter, you're not able to calibrate it, because you're going to get different thrust on each motor. So you need similar kV for all 4 ends of your quad. So make sure you have that. So now let's attach this end of your quad. It's better if you go diagonally. It's actually better if you start diagonally, because it's easier for us to get it aligned. So I'm trying to align it. Let's see. Yeah. So have got one end. So I'll start with one end, but once we get one end, it'll be easier for us to do it diagonally. So we could see over here. So just place one of the screw holes over here, and we can start with screwing. Yeah, I've screwed one of the end of the cord. Now we can, using this wheel, can try to align all your four ends. You can see it's not aligned properly, so you can just rotate your motor a bit and get it aligned with it, with your cord leg. So I'm about to do it now, so let's try to screw it diagonally. While you're ready, we'll get to know whether it's being tightened or not. So you can see I was able to tighten this diagonally easily. Since both ends are done, now your third and fourth are going to be very easy for you to do. And since you have done it already once, so you just have to use the same technique again, and it's going to be more easier for you to do it. So as you can see, I was able to do it, the third one, really easily. Moving my fourth part. As you can see, all the four ends are done. Now we can move towards this end of quadcopter. So we'll just keep to the sides. We'll open our one more motor box. So we're going to complete our front set of quadcopter in this step. So if you see, as we consider, the red is the front set of a quad, and you guys can consider which one you want. So the first step, take a screw, move it to one of its sides, pass it through, and try to align one of the holes of your motor. Once you have aligned one of the holes of your motor, just try to screw it in, tighten one of the ends. This part is a bit difficult, but once you have had your technique with it, it should not be an issue. So I was able to screw one of its ends of the cord of your motor through one of its cord legs. So one end is done. So now, like we did last time, just try to align it to its diagonal. This would take a bit time and precision, so just use a bit force and try to get it. For better rotation, you can even rotate your cord a bit. Loosen your tighten motor if it's not aligned properly. So I'll loosen it a bit so I can get it in the center, since it wasn't. So there's an issue with this, because if you see over here, I have connected it at the wrong end, so that's why there's an issue. So you just have to loosen it. So make sure this issue doesn't happen. Since I was making this video, I messed it out. So the issue is that your pins, the power signal and ground, should actually be facing towards the quad, and then you have to connect one of its end to the quad's leg. Try screwing it now. So this should get us aligned diagonally. So you must have seen I faced an issue during this step, and that was because my signal ground and power pins were not towards the quadcopter. So now if you see, now if I try to align it, yeah, I could align it easily. So I'll just connect one of it diagonally. So these are few of the issues you're gonna come even after knowing what's supposed to be done. And if this happens, it's not because you're not able to attach your motor to your cord, or it's not because there's a defect in the part. It's probably because there must be a small mistake from our end or your end where while you're screwing your quadcopter. Because if this the signal ground and power pins are not towards the quad, you won't be able to screw it diagonally. It's not going to screw it for you diagonally. You're going to face an error. So I've tightened this part. So now I just have to screw it other part. So, and this is my third leg of my quad, and this is going to complete my front side of my quadcopter. So almost tightened this. So let's just make it fully tightened, so we don't have any issues. So make sure whenever you're tighten it properly, because if it's not tightened properly, our quadcopter is going to face vibrations, and during vibrations, if it's loose and if it's not that tight, your motor can come out, and it can the propeller blades can hit your quadcopter itself, and this can cause an imbalance during flights and could lead to crash landings. So we have completed the tightening of the third leg also. The only thing is left is the fourth, and this fourth leg is gonna complete the whole quadcopter assembly. No, we have one more part after this, but at least the motor assembly for a quad. So we'll remove the motor from our quad. So yep, so it's open. So this is the motor again, just cross verify 1000 kV. And last time, like I said, there's some mistakes which you're gonna do. The signal ground and power pin should be facing towards the quadcopter. So make sure it's towards. So we made it towards. Make sure it's towards, and then bring it in the center, and just push one screw through the quad leg and try to attach a motor to it at one of its corners. But when you're attaching to one of its corners, make sure the signal ground pin and power pin is towards the so I was able to tighten this also. Since there were no errors this time, it was quite quick, and this is the last motor we're supposed to attach. So like we said, now we have to use it, just lift it up and try to align it. So you can see through your eyes, align. So align the motor holes and the quad leg together. So you can see it's done now. So you can just use first diagonally, attach the screw diagonally. It's gonna keep it aligned permanently. Screw it right. Once it's done, now I just have 2 more screws to be put into a quadcopter. So as you can see, it's been screwed both the ends, and this has completed our motor setup for our quad. We have attached our motors for our quad, and in other video I'll be showing you where you have to do your ESC testing also. So once this is done, let's bring our quad to the front so you can see how it's connected and what's supposed to be done next. If you see over here, you can see that the motor connections, signal, ground, and power pins are on top, all three of them. So what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to bring it below the quadcopter. Just push it below the quadcopter. So just find a pin. I guess I'm pushing it the wrong pin. Okay, just push it below the below the quadcopter leg, and that's it. All because using that we will be connecting our ESCs to our motors. So I'll be showing you about this in the next video, the connections connecting to your ESC to motors, and then how do you calibrate it, and how are you calibrating it individually beforehand. So all the steps will be showing you, I'll be showing you later. So we are just going to finish off our assembly so that it's done. At this point we just going to put all the three wires below. So I was able to do this also, as you can see, and these three, and these three also. Okay, it's done. Now we'll be using this is the front side. We'll be using this to complete our whole assembly. So once this is attached, our whole assembly is completed and we have a quadcopter. Then what's left is calibration of our motors and connecting it to the flight controller. And once you connect it to flight controller, we will connect it to your transceiver receiver, and we'll see how can we calibrate it using machine planner also. So these are the screws which we have received from the kit itself. So we'll use these screws to fit it. This is the top part. Align it properly. Like I said, always go diagonally. We'll start with this end over here. And we would require Allen key for it to screw it. So let me just take my Allen key. Like if I have this Allen key, so I'll be using this one. So the size of this is 2. What we were using was 2.5 beforehand. So we'll just screw it. So it's screwed over here, and now we'll use one more screw to screw it diagonally. Like I said, always screw it diagonally first so that you get the alignment right. So we have got one of the alignments right over here. We're able to screw it. So we can just use this, finish off the remaining screws so we can finish our quadcopter assembly. So we have screwed this also, and this is going to complete our one leg of our quad. This process is a bit time consuming, but this is how we are supposed to do it. And now we will move to our next side. Like I said, we have done this side, so let's move it diagonally. Always do it diagonally when you're screwing. I'm repeating many times because if you don't do it diagonally, you're going to have problems later on. See, if you see over here, it's not aligned right. So while you're doing diagonally, we get a chance to align it right, and by aligning it right, it's easier for us in the future also. Or else you got to unscrew everything if it's not aligned right once you have screwed two sides of it. So once, if you're doing it diagonally, you get a chance to avoid errors. See, it's not yet aligned properly in the screw hole. You have to try to I was able to hold one of its ends. Yeah. Now, like I said, we move diagonally. So when we are in diagonal, we can just screw this part now. So I've screwed this part, and we need more screws. So I just open this back. The remaining screws which you get from the set. So we'll just put all the screws out. So these are the two ends which we'll be using to screw. So if you see, once you've done it diagonally, it's very easy for you to screw it, and you can see when the alignment is right. So once this is screwed, move your cord towards your side and try to align it first. So align it. If you see, it's almost aligned itself since I've done it first diagonally. So it's not gonna be a much hassle now for me. That's what I believe. So we'll just use this. Use our Allen key to tighten it up. As you can see, it was easily tightened. Now we will use this one. Screw it diagonally. Let me see why it's not going inside. There must be some reason. Okay. For it diagonally, it's not yet aligned. So you can just push it, use a bit force. Or don't use so much force that it's gonna bend it. You can use a bit more force for it. Yeah. So you can just use your Allen key to tighten it up. So by doing this, I was able to bring it back into alignment. If you can see, it's been tightened up now. So it's always helpful once you do diagonal because you can bring it back into your alignment. The screws are small, so you got to be careful that you don't lose any of the screws, because even you lose one, your strength for it's going to be less for your quadcopter, and your quadcopters are going to undergo vibrations. So that's why you need all the screws tightened at max, and you don't have loose screws. So even this end is done. Now all we have is one end of our quadcopter left, and that's gonna complete our whole quadcopter assembly. So we have the remaining screws with us over here, and this will lead us to the completion of our quadcopter assembly. We'll check the alignment, like always. Check the alignment first. Yeah, bring it, attach it over here. Once you have it, you can actually Tighten it up. Okay, it's got tightened up. Now we'll use it diagonally. Yeah. So when this is done, and as you can see, this is almost completed our assembly of a quadcopter. So now all that's left is connection of your motor to your ESCs, which we'll be doing in the next video connections. And I'll be showing you how can you connect your signal pin to your flight controller. That will be done. And if yeah, we have all the signal pins, which will be connected to flight controller. Then from flight controller, we'll be connecting to a receiver. So we'll see those connections also. And once that's done, we connect to a battery, and we'll connect to a laptop, and we'll use mission planner, and that's what we're going to use. So thank you guys for joining in my video. So see you in the next session where we're going to do our connections. Thank you.
We're going to start with the soldering of our ESC to your quadcopter. So the first thing is that we got to cut our wire. We got to cut the plug out of it because it's not required. So if you can see that we need to solder our ESC to our quadcopter. So you're going to use a wire stripper. So by wire stripper, we can get the outer layering of your wire out, and we can just get the coils, which can the inside copper part, so that we can use for soldering. So once it's done, using wire stripper, we have removed the outer layering of your wire, and now we can see the inside part, which we can use for soldering. So now what we got to do first is you got to place the red wire to positive terminal and the black to negative. So you're going to take some wax and apply it on your on your positive and negative terminal of your wire, on the red wire and the black wire. And then we're going to use your solder we're going to use a solder gun to place it on your black and red wire. So using it, we are going to make sure that it's properly soldered. So first we just apply some solder on your red and black wire, which is positive negative coming out from your ESC, and then you apply some again solder to it. And once it's done, you can see now we will be going for the solder. So we have placed it correctly to the positive and negative terminal as it's shown on your board. And once it's placed, we are going to start our soldering. So we're going to use some of the metal we
Today's
have,
video,
and
we're
then
gonna
we're
see
going to
how
solder.
can we calibrate an ESC to your motor, and how can you calibrate using a transmitter and receiver. So this step is done before you solder your ESC to your quadcopter, and that's very important because you have to what do you say? You have to calibrate all four of your motors with all four of your ESCs before soldering it to your PCB of a quad. Because once it's calibrated, then on your quad you have to calibrate all four of them together. So the first step is calibrating individually. So we're considering one quad leg, and this is one quadcopter's motor. So we're going to use FS6 CT6B. So this is the transmitter we're using, and this is the receiver which we received from it. And then we're using a battery of 3500 mAh and 30 ampere ESC with the 1400 kV motor for this test. And so the first step is you have to connect your ESC to your motor. So you'll find such wires. So the red wire is going to go to your red wire. If you see the red end of this, so you want to connect red with red. So make sure it's right. Uh, it's connected. So between the red and black, the signal pin goes in the middle. The yellow is the signal pin which goes in the middle, and the black, this ground pin, is going to go to your ground. So this is your connection. So power, signal, and ground. So if and this is going to move clockwise, and if you want to rotate it counterclockwise, you just have to interchange between the red and the black wires. Once you do it, it will go counterclockwise. So while you're connecting it on your quadcopter, I'll show you how can you connect it clockwise and counterclockwise, and what's the direction you can do it. And it's important while you're to generate lift. So once you connect it with EAC, the next step is connecting your EAC signal pin of EAC to your receiver. So if you see over here, there are a lot of channels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 channels. So six channels Fly Sky receiver this is with battery. So while calibrating, you have to use female to female wire to calibrate it. You just have to connect it to your battery pin, and then you have to press this button over here, which you can see on it's clearly mentioned bind range test. So while clicking bind range test, you have to connect a female to female wire over here, and that's how we're going to get binded to your receiver over here. So mine is already binded to a receiver. So I'll be showing you how do you calibrate your ESC now. So the first step is connect your signal pin to your receiver. If you see, there is again the orange, red, and ground. So the orange pin goes on top. So channel 1, channel 3, we're going to connect to channel 3. So connect to your channel 3. So you can see I've connected my ESC to the channel 3, and the starting, the last pin is the ground pin. So that's how you can remember. Now what's left for me is to connect my ESC to the battery. So as soon as I connect, you can hear a beeping sound from the motor. I guess you can hear it already. So this is the overall connection: motor to ESC, EAC to receiver, and the EAC power and ground pin to your batteries power and ground pin. So the next step, which lies with us, is calibrating your transmitter to receiver and your motor to the EC. So you have to press the bind range key, press your bind range key, connect it, move your throttle to full power, and click the on signal. So we can see the beeping sound has been stopped now. So what you have to do is you have to remove the leave it over there and just move it towards your right. Move the throttle towards your right. You'll hear three sounds like you heard now. Come back. Move it to your lower. Again move it to your right. Again you hear the sound now. Yeah. So this has calibrated it. So you can now remove your battery first, then power off your transmitter. So this was the step. Now I'll show you how it's going to work once it's calibrated. The next step is connect your battery back to your battery. You will hear your beeping sound. You don't have to press this again because it's already binded. Just on your transmitter, you can hear it stop beeping. It has stopped beeping. You can hear this sound again. That means it has been calibrated completely. So now we'll try giving it some throttle, and you can see make sure you don't have propellers attached because it could hurt you. So let's give some throttle. You can see it's spinning. We'll try to drill through this to see do we have accurate power. As you can see, with the full throttle, we can receive the full power of our motor too. So it's working correctly. So you can just reduce it down and the motor stops. So it's calibrated accurately. Just off your transmitter and remove your battery. So that's done with your calibration of a single motor with the ESC. So this step has to be repeated with remaining three of the motors with the ESC, and you have calibrated all 4 of them, and then you can solder it to your PCB of your quadcopter. So that's how you can calibrate. That's how calibration is done for ESC and motor. So thank you guys for Thank you guys for joining this session. Hopefully you guys have a nice day.